Okay. Hi, I'm Shaik. I'm the founder and CEO of Eunimart, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Eunimart platform, who our ideal customers are, and how we can help them. Now, this is going to be a series of videos because I'm going to take each use case and talk about it in each video. So we'll probably have 5 or 6 different videos. Important thing to note is you also have a few other documents that have been shared with you, which you should review. There's one document where we have defined the exact use cases, the customer profiles, the typical people that you should look for in those customers when you're talking to them, and also what the value proposition is for those people. Let's go through a quick understanding before we get started. First is our ideal customers in India are two types: businesses that are between 1 to 10 crores. These are very small businesses. We call them our SME customers, and businesses that are between, say, 10 crore to 500, 600 crores in annual revenue. Now, it is important not to target businesses that are bigger than this at this stage, because very large businesses tend to have SAP, Microsoft, Oracle solutions in place when what they want us to do is a very small piece of the solution. Whereas what we want to do is ensure that we have a SaaS application. Now, many of you are not fully aware of what the difference between a SaaS sale and a normal software sale is. The way it works is, in a software sale, you're going to the customer, taking the use case and whatever the use case is, building it out for them. Whereas when it comes to a SaaS sale, you already have a ready platform, right? As you can see on the screen here. Now, you're not going to build exactly what the customer wants every time. So it is important to understand, one, which customer fits our requirements, as in the customer has a set of solutions that, or a set of problems that we can solve for using this existing platform. Now, whenever we do this, there will be 5–10% customizations, which means that the customer will need a specific installation or a specific change, which we are happy to do. But other than that, we're not building a new software from scratch for these users. So long story short, it is important to look for customers that fit what we call the ideal customer profile. So this is called the ICP. Now, in this ideal customer profile, that is what I defined. Businesses that are between 10 crores going all the way up to 500 crores, already selling on e-commerce, should not be selling a category of product which is difficult to sell on e-commerce, like furniture or medicines. Ideally not. There could be exceptions, but normally look for products and customers that are already selling on Amazon, already selling on Flipkart, already selling on a few different channels of sales. Now, coming to a little bit more about these customers, majority of these customers are already selling on e-commerce, but when they say they're selling on e-commerce, there is a difference between what they are doing in different cases. Now, case number one could be a merchant that is sourcing products from somewhere else. They could be sourcing their products from China, and they have an account on Amazon, and they're directly selling on Amazon. So they basically, when the item comes from China, they will rebrand it and sell it on Amazon. Alternatively, they could be manufacturing their own product, but they may not be selling it themselves. So they could be selling it to resellers, and these resellers are selling it on different channels of sales. A third use case could be somebody who's a manufacturer and is selling directly to Amazon. Remember, Amazon, Flipkart, they have their own direct vendor partnerships, B2B marketplaces. So what they do is, so what many of you don't know is Amazon has a B2C marketplace. That is where you go buy your stuff. But Amazon also has a B2B marketplace, or Flipkart has a B2B marketplace. So what happens is businesses go to these platforms, buy, and then sell directly. So what normally happens on Amazon is large brands like say a Biba or a Global Desi would be a vendor to Amazon. So they would not want to sell directly on Amazon because that's a lot of effort. They would not as in directly want to sell to the end customer on the B2C platform. That's a lot of work. So what they would end up doing is they would come and they would have Amazon account managers who buy from them. And then what Amazon does is puts them up on the B2B platform. People buy from there and sell those products on the B2C platform. Because Amazon, remember, or Flipkart is not allowed to have their own sellers, which means Amazon cannot have its own brand. That used to be the case before 2021, but the government has published a new rule where Amazon cannot sell directly. So what they're doing is they're asking the brands to become vendors on the B2B platform, and other resellers are buying from that B2B platform and selling through the Amazon platform. There are many deviations to this. I'm not going to go into those details, but enough to understand that brands could be sourcing or manufacturing. They can be selling by themselves to the end customer, or they could be selling to distributors or resellers who are selling, or they could be selling to the marketplace themselves, who are then getting other people to sell on their behalf. Okay. Now, once you understand this, let's also understand why does the merchant need help. Majority of these marketplaces, majority of these merchants, when they start selling on e-commerce, they will start where? They will typically start on Amazon or Flipkart. Why do they start on Amazon or Flipkart? Nowadays, Shopify is also becoming fairly big in India. There's a difference between a marketplace and a web store, right? A marketplace is like a mall. They're giving you the space, but they're not selling anything for you. But people already come to the mall. There's already traffic in the mall. So when you set up your store in that mall, it is easy to get customers. A web store on the other side is like your own retail store on the high street. Okay. So here you have to drive the traffic. People are not walking into the mall as into your store automatically in this case. So you are driving the traffic. So in a Shopify account, you have to make sure that people come and people like your products and buy and come back again. So that entire effort of finding customers, marketing to them, doing the supply chain, shipping, everything to an extent is your responsibility. Although Shopify does provide integrations for all of these. On the other hand, on Amazon, Amazon takes care of getting the customers for you. Amazon also takes care of doing the marketing to an extent. They have a marketing platform. Amazon also has all these shipping integrations, these supply chain integrations. Amazon does something called fulfillment by Amazon, where the brand would put some stuff in Amazon's warehouse. And then when they get an order, Amazon would do the fulfillment, as in the shipping end to the customer. And if the customer does a return, that goes back to Amazon's warehouse and stays in Amazon's warehouse. So this is called fulfillment by Amazon. Okay, so let's sum it up. Merchants have two different channels of sales: marketplaces and web stores. On web stores, you have to do the shipping, the warehousing, the supply chain, the marketing, everything. But on the marketplace drives the customers to you. They have the shipping integrations in place. They also sometimes have something like Amazon does fulfillment by Amazon. Flipkart also has that. So you're fulfilling using Amazon or you're fulfilling using Flipkart sometimes. Few interesting things to understand here. Marketplaces charge a lot more because they're doing all this service for you. So an Amazon on average would charge 15%. Shopify would only charge 2% because they're not doing all this work for you. But at the same time, Amazon ensures that if you're not using Amazon marketing, or if you're not actively using Amazon fulfillment, you more or less tend to get less orders, because if you're fulfilling on your own, Amazon is less certain that you're a genuine seller or you're a good seller. And Amazon's primary responsibility is to protect the customer experience, the end customer experience. So they want to make sure that the end customer gets the best experience on their platform. To do that, Amazon wants to make sure that your goods are good, they're going to be delivered on time, their questions are answered, and the marketing is done properly. That is why Amazon controls this entire loop. And if you're not doing that and you're doing by your own fulfillment, by the way, that is called merchant fulfilled. So if you're doing merchant fulfilled on Amazon, you tend to get less orders. There is an exception to this rule. So if you're a merchant and you are doing merchant fulfilled, but with Amazon's permission, you're doing something which is called seller flex, in which case you would get the same amount of orders because Amazon has approved this. Okay. So we started off by saying that there are a certain kind of customers we're targeting. Now we are starting to see that these customers must sell on e-commerce. On e-commerce, there are different ways to sell, like marketplaces, web stores. There are many other kinds of sales which are coming up. In these marketplaces, sometimes the merchant sells themselves. Sometimes they sell through partners or resellers. and sometimes they sell to the marketplaces themselves. Okay. Now, next, when you're selling on these marketplaces, why does every single merchant that you talk to start off either on Amazon or Flipkart? Because these marketplaces have taken care of all the things that you need to begin with, all the shipping options that you need, all the supply chain that you need, all the marketing that you need. So in essence, you as a merchant don't have to do anything. The marketplace is taking care of you. So all you need to do is focus on your product and ensure that you're selling. But when these brands start becoming a little bit bigger, two things happen. One, the brand starts to realize that, you know, I'm paying 15% of my sales to Amazon as commission. I'm paying another 10% as marketing and another 10-15% as my supply chain costs because I'm doing fulfillment by Amazon. What ends up happening? Brands on average are paying 35% or 40% of their sales to the channel of sale, Amazon. This is not sustainable. In addition, these marketplaces, Flipkart, Amazon, etc., tend to change the rules from time to time, tend to change their margins from time to time. And given that brands that are selling on e-commerce are sometimes operating on very thin margins, their entire business model can be disrupted if a certain small change happens in Amazon's pricing model. Another big problem tends to happen is sometimes marketplaces, due to rules that they have internally, will shut down the brand. Now, if your entire business is built around that Amazon store, Amazon shutting off your brand means your business is dead. Last week, I was talking to a business that was doing close to $100 million in revenue through Facebook. And when Facebook changed their rules, nowadays, you know, you cannot directly target people on Facebook. You could have done that earlier. When Facebook made that change, that $100 million business went bankrupt in 12 months. This is what happens when you build all your revenues on a single channel. So this is the problem. But at the same time, brands can see that there are so many channels of sales today. Myntra is there, ShopClues is there, Flipkart is there, Amazon is there, Nykaa is there, Paytm is there. I mean, there are so many channels. I may not have even named all of them. And on these channels, the brand could be selling. The brand could be selling through their own retail stores. Many of the brands get majority of their orders through B2B orders, as in bulk orders, business to business orders. Many of these brands sell through distributor partners. Many of these brands see that there's an opportunity to sell globally, but they cannot figure out how exactly will they sell globally because there's so many things to figure out. So when a brand sees this opportunity, the first thing they think is, we can do it, which is good. So they start doing it, and then they realize that looking at each channel of sale and figuring out how to sell on that channel takes about 6 months minimum. And it takes about $100,000 or 75 lakh rupees before you optimize the first channel of sale. Now you will ask me, why? Why does it cost so much? Why does it take so much time? Because each channel is completely different. It looks the same, but it is not. When you go to the back end, you realize that the way the merchants are doing cataloging, starting from the name of the category to the filing, to the imaging, to the pricing, everything is different. The way the brands are doing the shipping, the supply chain for each of these channels is different. These things require specialists to come in, which means that the brand will have to spend a lot of money hiring specialists, or if they can't hire, go to agencies who do that for a large fee. But remember, now you're no longer selling only on one channel. If you are selling only on Amazon, Amazon systems would have helped you. Because you're selling on Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, and ShopClues, you will now need to figure out how to manage all these orders that are coming in, how to manage the inventory going out, how to manage your warehousing from all these different channels, how to manage all the different shipping options and the rates. That is where most of the brands, after doing this for 2-3 times, think this is too costly, too difficult, and just not worth our time. So they give up. What is the result? The result is that brands leave up to $90 billion in untapped revenues on the table. So all these brands could have sold $90 billion, which they're not selling. Today, if you take a look at it, Chinese brands are globally known. American brands are globally known. But I promise you, Indian brands are not. That is the problem, right? So brands have a problem that they want to sell on multiple channels, but it's expensive, time consuming, and they don't know how to do it. And at the same time, on the first channel or second channel where they're selling, it is becoming more expensive and not sustainable because a small change can disrupt their whole business. This is exactly where Eunimart comes in. Eunimart is a platform that helps the brand to manage all their different channels of sales. It could be B2B, B2C, retail, e-commerce, domestic e-commerce, international e-commerce, marketplaces, web stores. This is an omni-channel platform integrated with shipping, warehousing, fulfillment for every single channel. Okay. So this was my introductory video. In the next video, we will talk about the first use case, which is how will a brand start selling on cross-border e-commerce? Okay, cross-border e-commerce meaning how can they start selling in different countries without investing a lot of money into it? Thank you.